Does dentistry seem stressful for you? If it does, it likely comes back to one main thing that you have not figured out how to do yet. You have not figured out how to embrace difficult conversations and face the problems right in front of you. Most of the stress in dentistry stems from us trying to avoid difficult conversations or avoiding a glaring problem that is staring you in the face. Are you afraid of a staff member quitting? Why don't you just ask them how they are doing and how they are liking their job? Are you afraid of what they might say? Are you stressed about presenting certain types of treatments or costs being presented to patients? Why not just ask them how much money they have and how much they have saved for their dental care? Are you afraid about finances and afraid to look at a production report? Why not just dig into it and figure out where you stand financially? Dentists have a ton on their plate, from taking care of patients to running their practice. Sometimes when things get really tough, it's tempting to just ignore the problems instead of dealing with them. Imagine a dentist noticing that fewer patients seem happy after their visits, but decides not to dig into why that's happening. They might think it's easier just to keep going as usual rather than fixing what's wrong, like improving how they talk to patients or cutting down wait times. By avoiding these issues, dentists are just shooting themselves in the foot and end up creating a much more stressful situation. It's like if you ignored a small leak in your house because you don't want to deal with it, but then what will happen? It will turn into a big, expensive problem. If you notice that an employee is acting differently than usual and you are concerned she will quit, what should you do? Well, if you do nothing, she will almost certainly quit and you'll be caught off guard. Why don't you just act like a human and talk with her? It won't make the situation worse. If she was going to quit, you at least have a chance to make it right. If you can't, at least you have a heads up and can start looking for someone sooner. If you have cash flow problems in your practice, I promise that it will not get better without digging into and addressing things. Let's look at some possible reasons why this is so hard to face head on. You just don't have time. I completely understand this one, but it's not an excuse. If you don't have time to figure it out, how are you going to have time to figure it out when the problem becomes much larger? Then there's you don't know how. This is common especially with business issues. If you don't know, you need to find someone to help you. Find someone sooner than later while the problem is more manageable. Then there's fear of conflict. This is one of the most common ones I see. As humans, most of us are afraid of conflict and contention. This is something you just have to get over. You need to view it as a challenge. Learn to enjoy each difficult conversation or challenging situation. Your success will be directly related to your ability to have difficult conversations. Now let's talk more about this. Never go into a difficult conversation when you are emotionally charged or frustrated. This will not end well. Wait until you are calmed down and thinking clearly. I can't tell you how many problems that I've had to deal with that are caused by a dentist reacting to something in the heat of the moment. Figure out what you want to accomplish. Know what you want to achieve so that you can stay focused and not get sidetracked during the conversation. Next, make sure to choose a time and a place where you won't get interrupted and where the person should feel comfortable to properly discuss things. Keep things as positive as possible and in a kind way. Make sure to be as direct and clear as in your thoughts as possible, because so many people have such a hard time with difficult conversations, they never say it like it is. If an employee is doing a bad job at something, say it in a kind way, but make it clear. Just say it so the person knows what you're getting at. It does take some practice to do this without offending as much as possible. However, if you don't directly address things, then you will never fix anything. Try to say more statements with I instead of you. When you keep using the word you, the conversation tends to come off more accusatory and does not help the situation. Once you have said what you want to say, stop talking and just listen. Don't interrupt. Let them feel like they're being heard. You may have heard the term active listening. This is a real thing, and if the person does not feel heard, you will likely not succeed in your conversation. Then make sure to validate their feelings and then focus on solutions. Once you both have come to find a solution or agreement, make sure you leave the conversation with specific action items and follow-up dates. These conversations are not easy, but if you can practice them with the goal of coming out of them with everyone feeling good and more connected, then you will have a very bright future ahead of you. The next time somebody asks for a raise, showing up habitually late, or a patient is angry with you, view it as a challenge to have the difficult conversation. If you keep this up and learn to embrace difficult conversations and tackling problems head on, I promise that your life will dramatically change for the better, and you will like dentistry more than you currently do. Now, if you found this helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more tips how to grow your dental practice. If there's anything you need help with in your practice, comment below and I'll try to incorporate that in future videos.